So Java is having the programming language, its own language. Like if I go to .NET is not having its own language. .NET is a technology. If the language that I use is basically that is C sharp, I can use C++. So if I consider Java with the .NET, you have the language independency that you need not go for any language, any else language in Java. You have the Java language itself. They provide you their own language. It is a development environment, application environment, and deployment environment. So right from the scratch till the deployment, you do not need anything else. Java itself gives you a complete solution for the development. Now, when I talk about the syntax is basically different to C++, but it's also similar one. A big number of concepts that you may have studied in C++ are just dropped off from this Java. You may have studied up the concepts of pointers, the concept of this operator overloading and other stuff. These all things are removed from C++. Now, when I talk about pointers, many of the people, they hate pointers because it is quite complex to work with the pointer. So this is one thing which was removed in Java, not because it is tough to work, but it was quite complex, and when Java is giving itself you the features of pointers, so what is the need to give the developers to work on the pointers? Now, two types of programs are there, I should say. One is applets and another one is application. What is applets and application? Let's say I make a program that is to be executed on my own computer. I can execute it on a local area network, so that I will say it as an application. But if I say that I want to make a program which is going to execute on the program which is going to be embedded inside a web page, and I am going to run it through internet on my different clients, that is the browsers, so that I can say it as an applet. Now the time has changed. Now applets are more into the game development. If you go for some 2D graphics, and if you go for some games on internet, you will find more of the games and 2D graphics are made inside the applets. Now as we can see, the primary goals of the Java technology were that we need to avoid the pitfall of other languages, like I have discussed. In C++, we were having a lot many number of pitfalls. If I talk it about on the internet, working of the C++ on internet. Another thing is that users were able to create this streamlined code. Now what I mean by streamlined code? Now when I say that object orientation is always going to fetch the Java code streamlined. We create an object and we create a blueprint for that object, and that is what a class. Now we will check out in the later part of this class what exactly an object is and how we code an object, how we provide the blueprint for an object. We are just talking about the features of Java. Now, if I talk about the primary goals of the Java, how they were being fulfilled. Now, Java had a virtual machine, Java runtime environment, garbage collection. Now, when I was talking about this machine, if I say machine, computer is a machine. A microprocessor is controlling this machine, right? Now we have a language that is understood by the hardware. Now what is that language? The language is binary language. Now similarly, what Java has done is Java has created up a virtual machine inside this GRE, the Java runtime environment. Now when we talk about Java virtual machine, it is again considered as a machine, and it is having its own language too. Now what is the language that Java virtual machine contains? It is bytecode. Like binary code is for my external machine, this is the computer microprocessor, and when I talk about the Java virtual machine, the language that we will be using is bytecode. Now it was quite difficult to code in binary, and how are we going to code in the bytecode? So I should say that we are not going to write any source code in the bytecode. All the code will be written in the user-friendly environment and user-friendly language, that is just simple English using the keywords from Java, and this again Java compiler is going to convert it into the bytecode. Now why bytecode? One thing, you compile the code, another one is the bytecode will be fetched by Java runtime environment and it is going to be converted again to the binary code. So that makes the multiple level of the security, you should say. bytecode, it is a file extension which is not recognized by virus, and that is more secure. And when you just compile it up again, you get the code that is sent to the hardware and we get the output. Now here we say Java runtime environment, JVM tool interface will, once we proceed with the classes, we would be able to understand all these things. Now one very good feature of Java is garbage collection. As all of you know that what is garbage. When I talk about garbage, it is something which is not required and we throw it out. Now if I say I am making a program, I have lot many number of objects, I allocate the memory to them, and once I allocate the memory, I'll be always worried that what happens if I'm running short of memory. So we need not worry with this memory allocation and deallocation, because in other languages deallocation was our responsibility, that is the programmer's responsibility. But when I talk about Java, in Java you need not keep the memory allocation track. So if I say I'm making up 5 objects, 3 of them are still working, 2 go out of the scope. So what Java will do, it will check, okay, this object is out of scope, fine, kick it out, and we'll just work with 3 objects. So the memory for the 2 objects is cleared. Now I was talking about the Java runtime environment. See, I make a program in Java and we give an extension of .java. Now test greeting.java, and I compile it to the test greeting.class. Now this is what compilation, one process has completed. Now this process goes into the compiler part. After that, the work starts for the runtime environment, that is the JRE. Now it loads from the hard disk, network or any other source. Now what this interpreter is going to do, the interpreter is going to read my test greeting.class file line by line, and it is going to send it to the hardware. Okay, if I say I give the output to the hardware in first line, the output will be sent to hardware. In the next line, I ask an input from the keyboard, it will ask the input. Then again in the third line, I say, okay, fine, I am giving this output once again, so it will send the output to the hardware. This is how the things work. So let's say I need to check whether my system is having Java or not. How I'll check that? So you have a lot many number of tools that you use in today's world. So for this, first of all, we need a text editor. I have used Notepad++. So how I am going to check? I have Notepad installed in my machine. So I say Notepad++, open it. It is asking for any update package. I do not want any update package for now. Fine. So I'll just open my Notepad. It is just opening it up. In the meantime, I'll go to my CMD, that is command prompt. So you may be aware of this window. Now in this window, how I am going to check whether my Java is installed or not? I say Java C. So this is the command I'll write. I press enter. I'll get a lot many number of options. So if I get those options, that means Java is installed and the path is updated correctly. Or maybe sometime if you do not update the path, you will get a error message over here that Java C is not understood as an external or internal command. So please check again. So how I am going to check whether my Java is installed or not? So we are going to check it. I'll go to my computer. I'll go to my C drive and I'll find my program files. And here if I see a Java folder, because I am using up a 64-bit Java and 64-bit operating system, I'll go to the program files. Here we find we have a Java folder. Now inside the Java folder, you can see I have two of the folders, that is JDK and JRE. Now JDK stands for the Java Development Kit, which all the developers require because they need to develop the code. Now when I talk about JRE, it is the Java Runtime Environment. So once you develop the code, you are using this folder to create all the tools, and you can see all the tools are over here. If I go for JRE, once you create your program, you require that program to execute the output of that program. Now how we make a program in Java? So let's go for this Notepad++. I'll start with a class. I say class student. What this class is. Now all who have done C++ would be aware of the class, as that class is a real world entity. When I say why class is required, because when I want to define an object, you need to provide the blueprint of that object, which is very important, right? So if I say class student, I'm going to define the blueprint of the object. Now what is blueprint? We need to understand that also. Blueprint is basically an outline that you give about how my objects look like. If I say a student, how do a student look like? A student may be having a name, student may having an address, a student may be having a age, in what class he is studying. These are the attributes of this student. I'll write a comment entry over here that is class is a entity. So I say my student is having some attributes. I'll see the attributes later. I'll just make this class. I'll save this class as I will create a Java folder that is. Now what name I should give? Follow a guideline that I'll give the name of the class here. So I'll say student dot Java. I'll save my Java file with the name of the student. So we'll open up the folder. I say C:/ that is Java 2 folder. Now if you see over here, what I'm having is I created up a class. I'm having my student.java. Now I checked my compiler. I'm also having the Java installed.